Hi everyone, in this video I will be designing this landing page using HTML5 and CSS3. So at the top we have a navigation bar. So inside the navigation bar we have a logo on the left side and these nav links on the right side. And if I scroll down, as you can see, the navigation bar, the background is changing. And then we have this main title inside the hero section, and also we have this scroll to down button. So if I click on this link, it goes to the services section, or if I click on this scroll to down button, it goes to the services section. All right, so in the service section we have these different services. All right, and then we have the portfolio section. So as you can see, we have these different portfolio items. Okay, so if I click on the blog link, so it goes to the blog section. All right, and then we have the contact us form. So inside the contact us section we have contact us information on the left side and contact us form on the right side, and then we have this a simple footer. So this is completely responsive, so let me show you this on a small screen. Okay, so as you can see, the navigation bar changes and it is looking like this on a smaller devices. Okay, which is looking cool. So if I click on any of these links, so as you can see, the navigation bar hides. Okay, and also as you can see with this hamburger menu, it goes to its initial state. Okay, so I will be designing this from the very beginning, so make sure to watch the video from the start to its end, and you will be learn so much. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to create a folder, name this Upwork YT. Okay, so I'm going to open this folder using VS Code. Okay, and here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to name this index.html, and I'm going to create a new folder. This will be assets. I'm going to create one for the JS and one for the CSS and one for the images. All right, so here I'm going to create a new file. This will be app.css and app.js. All right, so I'm going to copy the images from the finished project, and I'm going to paste the images right here. Okay, so I'm going to open VS Code. Okay, so I'm going to create a HTML boilerplate. Okay, so I'm going to change the title to Upwork HTML landing page. Okay, so I'm going to add responsive landing page. Okay, so let me link the CSS file. Okay, and I'm going to link the JavaScript file as well. All right, so I'm going to open this file with a live server. Okay, so let me reset some of the default HTML properties. So before doing that, let me define some CSS variables. So the first one will be color brand, and its value is going to be FAC 562. All right, so the next will be color dark and color body. Okay, and I'm gonna create one for font base. The font that I'll be using is plus Jakarta Sans. If that font is not available, then it will use sans serif. Right, and I'm gonna create one for the navigation bar height. So I'm gonna type nav height, and I'm gonna set the height to 100 pixel. All right, so I'm gonna select universal selector. So this is universal selector. It selects everything. So, and I'm gonna select after and before pseudo element, and I'm gonna set the padding, so padding to 0. So HTML has a default padding and margin, so I'm gonna remove that, and I'm gonna set that to 0, and I'm gonna set the box sizing to border box. Then I'm gonna select the HTML, and I'm gonna change scrolling behavior to smooth. I'm gonna select the body. Oops. I'm gonna change the color to the body color. Change the font family to font base. Okay, and I'm gonna set the line height 1.2. Oops. 1.2, and let me put some text so that it will be easy. So I'm gonna put H1. Heading 3, heading 2, heading 1. Okay, so as you can see, and I'm gonna select heading 1. I'm gonna change the color to color dark. Alright, I'm gonna set the line height 1.2. Okay, and I'm gonna set the margin bottom to 10 pixel. Alright, and I'm gonna put an anchor tag as well. Okay, this will be link. Okay, so then I'm gonna select the anchor tag. I'm gonna change the color to dark color. I'm gonna remove the text decoration to none. Okay, and I'm gonna give a transition as well. 0.4 second is in out, and on hour I'm gonna change the color to brand color. Okay, looking great. So I'm gonna wrap these. So I'm gonna create a button as well. I'm gonna give a class btn get started, and I'm gonna wrap this inside a section tag. Here I'm gonna create a container. I'm gonna paste it. Alright, so I'm gonna select this section tag. I'm gonna give a padding, so from the top and bottom 140 pixel, left and right 0. And I'm gonna select the container class. I'm gonna give a maximum width 1140 pixel. Okay, and I'm gonna set the width to 100%. And I'm gonna give a margin from the top 0 and left and right auto. So I want this container class to be in the middle, in the center of the browser. Save it. Let me give a background color. Okay, so the reason why I have set the maximum width to 1140, so as you can see, so if I resize the window, so as you can see, this is now responsive because of the maximum width. So if the browser window is greater than 1140, so this container will not gonna grow, and if it is smaller, so it will adjust itself. So that's why I have set this maximum width to 1140. All right, and I'm gonna give a padding left 2.24 pixel, padding right 24 pixel. Okay, so now we have some space on the left and right side. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this class. All right, and I'm gonna select the button. I'm gonna select the button class. I'm gonna set the display to inline block. All right, I'm gonna give a background color transparent. I'm gonna set the border. I'm gonna give a border of 1 pixel solid brand color. I'm gonna change the font family. Font will be font base. Okay, and I'm gonna give a padding 14 pixel and 24 pixel. So I'm gonna give a 16 and 32. Okay, and I'm gonna set cursor to pointer. Okay, I'm gonna give a transition. And I'm gonna change the font size to 14 pixel. Button on hover. Background color will be the brand color, and the text color will be white. So I'm gonna scroll to the top a bit. I'm gonna select heading 1 class. So I'm gonna give a class heading 1. This will be heading 2, and this will be heading 3. All right, so I'm gonna set the font size to, so I want the font to be also responsive, so I'm gonna use clamp function. So it accepts 3 values. So the first one will be the minimum value. So the minimum value that I'm gonna give is 32 pixel. This is the minimum value, and this will be the preferred value, 6 viewport width, and the maximum value is going to be 54 pixel. Okay, so as you can see, so it will be responsive if I resize the browser window. So as you can see, all right, so I'm gonna do this for the heading 2. So I'm gonna select the heading 2 class. The minimum value is going to be 2.8, I mean 28 pixel. I'm gonna give a 4 viewport width, and this is going to be 36 pixel. Okay, and for the heading 3, the value is going to be fixed, so I'm gonna give 20 pixel. This is going to be heading 3. All right, and also the font weight for this is going to be 400. All right, so I'm gonna visit to fonts.google.com website, and I'm gonna get the font that I have used in the finished project. So that is plus Jakarta Sans. So I'll be using 400 weight and 500. I'm gonna click on import, copy this link, and I'm gonna paste it right here. I'm gonna save it and let's see. So as you can see, the font family is now changed. Great. Okay, so that's it for the reset. So I'm gonna remove these now. So I'm gonna create a navigation bar first. Okay, so I'm gonna create a comment. This will be navigation bar, comment end. So I'm gonna type navigation bar. So here I'm gonna create a div and I'm gonna give a class navigation bar. Here I'm gonna create a container. Inside the container I'm gonna put an anchor tag and I'm gonna give a class brand, and the text will be Upwork. So you can use an image. Okay, and here I'm going to create an order list. I'm going to give a class nav links. Okay, so I'm going to put list item and anchor text. So the first will be home, and I'm going to give a class active. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to remove the active class from the other nav links except the top one, and this will be services. This will be work and block. I'm gonna copy this one. This will be contact. Alright, and here I'm gonna create a div and I'm gonna give a class hamburger. I'm gonna put a span tag here. Alright, so let's design the navigation bar. So I'm gonna add a class, so I'm gonna add a comment. I'm gonna add a comment Google Fonts, base and reset. So this will be helpers. I'm going to add a comment, so this will be the navigation bar. Here I'm going to design the navigation bar. Alright, so I'm going to select the navigation bar. I'm going to give a background color. So let me give a background color completely black. And also I'm going to select unorder list. I'm going to remove the list style to none. Okay, that's it. And before designing the navigation bar, I'm going to select the image tag. I'm going to give a maximum width 100%. I'm going to set the width to 100% and the height is going to be auto. Okay, so let's go to the navigation bar. So the position is going to be fixed. Alright, and I'm going to set the width to 100%. So the reason why I have set the position to fixed, because I want the navigation bar to be fixed when a user scroll down. So Okay, so then I'm gonna select the brand class. Okay, I'm gonna change the color to white. I'm gonna set the font size 28 pixel. All right, then I'm gonna select this class, which is navlinks. I'm gonna set the display property to flex, so I want these navigation links to be displayed horizontally. Okay, so then I'm gonna select navlinks list item, and I'm gonna exclude the last one, not last child, and I'm gonna give a margin right 44 pixel. Okay, so we have some space now. Then I'm going to select the nav links and select the list item, and then I'm going to select the anchor. I'm going to change the color to white. All right, and I'm going to change the color on hover. On hover, the color will be brand color. Okay, and I'm going to set the font size to 13 pixel. Set the text transform to uppercase. Okay, and I'm going to give a letter spacing 1 pixel. 1 pixel. All right, and for the when this list item is a class active, so I'm going to select this. So I'm going to copy this. Oops. Here I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to select the anchor tag, and I'm going to give a box shadow. So from the y-axis is going to be 0 of, okay, from the y-axis I want to give it a 2 pixel left and right. So from the x-axis 0, and the color will be brand color. Okay, so this should be 0 and this should be 2 pixel. All right, so as you can see, we have this line. All right, so let's adjust the layout. So before doing that, let me design the hamburger menu. So for now, let me give a padding bottom. Let's say 30 pixel, and I'm going to remove this padding bottom later. Okay, so I'm going to select hamburger menu, hamburger class. I'm going to set the display to block. Okay, and I'm going to set the cursor to pointer. I'm going to select hamburger. I'm going to select the span, but I'm going to select the first child. Okay. Hamburger, I'm going to select the span. I'm going to set the display to block. I'm going to give a width 34 pixel, and I'm going to give a height, say 2 pixel, and the background color will be white. All right, I'm going to give a margin from the top is going to be 8 pixel, and left and right is going to be auto. So this is our hamburger menu, and when this hamburger menu is a class active, okay, so I'm going to select hamburger menu as a class active. Then I'm going to select the span, the first child. I'm going to set the transform translate y 5 pixel, so from the y-axis 5 pixel, and I'm going to rotate this -45 degree. Alright, I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to select the second child, so this will be -45. Alright, and I'm going to give a transition, so transition. Okay, so let me right click and I'm going to remove the active class. So as you can see, awesome. So I'm going to remove the active class. So now let's adjust the layout. So I'm going to select the navigation bar. Then I'm going to select the container. Okay. And I'm going to remove the padding. I'm going to set the display to flex. Alright. And I want these item to be in the center vertically. So I'm going to give align item center and justify content space between. Save it, and I'm going to give a height to the navigation bar as well. So the height is going to be navigation bar height, and I'm going to set the display to flex. All right, so I'm going to hide the hamburger menu. I'm going to set the display to none. Great. Okay, so when I scroll down, so I want the navigation bar, the color for the navigation bar to be white. So let's do that. So I'm going to create a div for now. A style, padding top 1000. Oops. So now we have scrolling. Okay, so I'm going to remove this letter. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to name this hamburger. Okay, and I'm going to select query selector, and I'm going to select the navigation bar class, Navbar, and I'm going to set I'm going to add event listener to the window. So event listener is going to be scroll, and here I'm going to create a callback function. Okay, if scroll y greater than or equal to 100 pixel. Okay, then I'm going to select. Okay, so this should be Navbar. So I'm going to select the navigation bar. I'm going to add a class. Class will be scrolled. Otherwise, I'm going to remove this. Okay, else I'm going to remove the scroll class. Okay, so let's create that class. Scrolled. So for now, I'm going to change the background color to check if it is working. So as you can see, it is working. Great. Okay, so I'm going to change the background color to white. Okay, I'm going to select this scroll class. I'm going to select the brand. I'm going to change the color to color dark. Then I'm going to select the navigation links. Color will be dark as well. Okay, and I'm gonna change the color on hover. Color is going to be brand color. Awesome. And also I'm gonna change the hamburger color. So I'm gonna select hamburger. I'm gonna select the span. Background color is going to be dark. Great. So so let's fix this. So at this breakpoint, so I'm gonna change the navigation to something like this. Okay, so I'm gonna use media query. I'm gonna say media. I'm gonna type maximum width. If the width of the browser is equal to or less than 768 pixel. Okay. Okay, so then I'm gonna select. Okay, so let's go to, and I'm gonna give a Z index to the navigation bar. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna select nav links. Okay, I'm gonna set the position to fixed. All right, and from the top, I'm gonna give a from the top is going to be navigation bar height. Okay, and I'm gonna set the width to 100%, and I'm gonna change the flex direction to column. Okay, and from the left it's going to be 0, and I'm gonna give a padding from the top is going to be 0 and left and right is going to be 24 pixel. I'm going to select the nav links list item. Okay, let me give a padding. From the top is going to be, let me give a 10 pixel, left and right 0, and I'm going to show the hamburger. I'm going to set the display to block. Okay, so I'm going to give a transition to the nav links. Transition all 0.4 second is out. Then give it to 0.3. Doing that, so let me find the height of the nav links. So I'm going to select the nav links. Okay, and let's see the height. So the height is 155. So I'm going to give 156. Okay, and initial let me change the height to 0, and I'm gonna set the overflow to hidden. Okay, and when the nav link is a class active, then I'm gonna show. I'm gonna set the height to 160 pixel. So let me add this active class. Nav links, I'm gonna add a class active. So as you can see, awesome. So let's add this functionality. Okay, so I'm gonna create another variable. So I'm gonna give the name. The name should be hamburger, and I'm gonna select I'm going to select the hamburger class. I'm going to select nav links. Give it a selector, and the class is going to be nav links. Okay, so I'm going to select the hamburger class. I'm going to add event listener. So the event listener is going to be click, and I'm going to create a callback function. Okay, so let me see if it is working. All right, I'm going to select nav links. I'm going to add a class. So this will be toggle. The class is going to be active. Great. Okay, and if I click on this hamburger menu, this should be also activated. So I'm going to select hamburger class list dot toggle. This will be active. Great. Okay, so I'm going to change the link color. So I'm going to select nav links list item. Color will be color dark. All right. And I'm going to set the height to, let's say, 180. So I'm going to give some space from the top, or 160, 170. All right, so that's it for the navigation. So I'm going to design the hero section now. Okay, so let's create the hero section. So I'm going to create a comment. This will be hero. Okay, so here I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to give ID hero. Inside this hero section, I'm going to create a container, and here I'm going to put h1. I'm going to give a class heading extra large, and I'm going to put a span here. So why we have this space now? Okay, so I'm gonna visit to, and I'm gonna set from the top is going to be 0, from the left 0. All right, so for now let me put some text. So I'm gonna type creative agency. Okay, so I'm gonna create a comment here. This will be hero. Okay, I'm gonna give a minimum height 100 viewport height. Okay, and I'm gonna change the background. I'm gonna put linear gradient, so I'm gonna put an overlay at the top of the image. So for now, let me put a black color, and here I'm gonna put an images, and I'm gonna select hero 1, and I'm gonna reduce the overlay though. So I'm gonna reduce the opacity to 0. Let's say 0.2. save it. So as you can see, and I'm going to maximize this, and I'm going to change the background position to center and background size to cover. All right, and I'm going to remove the background color from the navigation bar. Save it. Okay, and I want the content to be in the center of this hero section. So for that, I'm going to set the display to grid, and I'm going to set the place content center. All right, and I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, the color will be white for the heading. So I'm going to select heading 1. Color will be white. All right, so I'm going to scroll to the top, and I'm going to copy this heading. So I'm going to create another class, heading extra large. The minimum font is going to be 44 pixel. Maximum is going to be, let's say, 120, and it's going to be 10 view font width. And I'm going to give a font weight, let's say 400. All right, so let me change the text transform uppercase, and I'm going to reduce the font to, let's say, 100. Yeah, looking great. And I'm going to set the text align center. Save it and refresh. So let's create something like this. Okay, so I'm going to visit to the type.js website, type.js. Okay, so I'm going to click on this first link. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, and here I'm going to paste it. Okay, the selector is going to be, so I'm going to give an ID to this pane, hero type. So I'm going to give a hero typed, or hero titles. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so this is going to be our first sentence, second. Okay, so the first sentence is going to be, so I'm going to remove this creative agency. First sentence is going to be creative. Second is going to be, so I'm going to put some title like typed JS is awesome. So let me refresh. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and here are some options. So you can try these different options. So I'm gonna copy this, and here I'm gonna paste it. All right, so this is going to be infinite. So I'm gonna change this to type.js is cool. Great. So this should be true. Save it. So I'm going to create this scroll to down, and so let's try these different options. So the type speed, so let's see the type speed. Type speed, so I'm gonna set this to, let's say, 1000 millisecond. So as you can see, this is very slow, so I'm gonna set this to 0, okay, or 10, and I'm gonna set some delay, so it is going very fast. Start delay, back speed, I think it's a back delay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna set this to, let's say, 2000 millisecond. Okay, so it will gonna take some break, and yeah, just like that. Okay, so that's it for the type.js. Okay, so as you can see, here is the problem. So I'm gonna change the background color to white for the nav links when the screen size is smaller. Background color is going to be white. All right. Great. So I'm gonna increase the height a little bit. So I think, so let me set the height to 200 pixel. Great. Okay, so let's create this scroll to down button. So for that, I'm gonna visit to line awesome icons. I'm gonna click on this first link, and I'm gonna click on this get started. Okay, and I'm gonna copy this link, and I'm gonna paste it right here, and I'm gonna search for arrow, and I'm gonna copy this one, copy it, and here I'm gonna paste it. So I'm gonna paste it inside an anchor tag, and I'm gonna give a class. This will be scroll to down. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, okay, I'm gonna paste it. So I'm gonna give a width, let me give a width 30 pixel, and I'm gonna give a height 60 pixel. I'm gonna set the display to grid, and I want this arrow to be in this center horizontally and vertically, so I'm gonna set place content, place content center. Okay, and I'm gonna change the font size to be 2.424 pixel. Alright, and I'm gonna change the color to white. I'm gonna give a border 2 pixels solid. Color is going to be white, and I'm gonna set the opacity 0.2. I'm gonna give a border radius, let's say 10 pixel. Alright, and I'm gonna give a position absolute. From the bottom I'm gonna give a 0. From the left is going to be 50%. Okay, from the bottom I'm gonna give let's say 24 pixel. Alright, let me give it a 48 pixel. Alright, so I'm gonna create an animation here. So I'm gonna add keyframe, and the animation is going to be scroll to down. Okay, so at 0% I'm gonna, so at 0% let me go background color red, 100% background color purple. So to use this animation, so I have to type animation. The animation is name is scroll to down, 2 second is and infinite. So as you can see, color is changing. So instead of this, so I'm gonna select transform translate from the y-axis. So at 0% I'm gonna give from the top, let's say 30%. At 50% from the top is going to be -30, and at 100% from the top is going to be, let's say, 80%. Save it. So this should be for this arrow. So I'm gonna copy this, scroll to down, then I'm gonna select, should be LS. I'm gonna select that class. Okay, and let me give it from the top, let's say 60, and I'm gonna set the opacity to 0, and also set the opacity to 0. Save it and refresh. Oops. And I'm gonna set the opacity to 1, and I'm gonna give a border radius, let me give a border radius 100%, say 100 pixel. And when a user click on this, it should go to the next section. So let's create this services section. So I'm going to create a div. I'm going to create a section. I'm going to give ID services. I'm going to create a container class. Inside this class, I'm going to put a div, and I'm going to give a class section intro. And I'm going to put h1. I'm going to give a class heading 1. This will be our services. Alright, and I think I'm gonna give a class heading 2. Okay, so heading 2 is looking fine. And one thing that I forgot to do is to, if a user click on any of these nav links, so that should be active. So as you can see, we have in the finished project. Okay, so let me open that project. Just like this. So I'm gonna do that in a moment. So let me create a class grid. Okay, and I'm gonna give another class. This will be 2-column grid. Sorry, this should be 3-column grid. Okay, so here I'm gonna create a class service. So I'm gonna visit to the Line Awesome icon website, and I'm gonna search for tools. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and I'm gonna paste it inside this div, and I'm gonna give this class icon. Here I'm gonna create h3, and I'm gonna give a class heading 3. This will be service title, and I'm gonna copy the text from the finished project. Okay, so I'm gonna paste it right here. I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna duplicate this service class 6, and I'm gonna change the icon later. Okay, so let's first design this. Create a comment, so this will be service. So grid. So I'm going to select the grid class. I'm going to set the display to grid. Okay, and I'm going to set the gap to, let's say, 44 pixel. Okay, and let's set this will go to home, and this link will go to services section. All right, I'm going to select 2-3-column grid. I'm going to set the grid template to repeat 3 times 1fr. All right. And I forgot to add the line height. So this should be line height 1.8. Font weight is going to be 400. All right. So I'm going to select this service class. And I'm going to select the odd one. Okay, I'm going to change the background color to, let's say, color light. So I'm going to create this variable, so I forgot to add this color light, and its value is going to be 5858. Okay, so as you can see, we have these background color for the odd ones. Okay, then I'm going to select service. I'm going to give a padding 44 pixel. All right, and then I'm going to select paragraph. I'm going to change the font size 14 pixel. Alright, and then I'm going to select the icon. I'm going to increase the font size to, let's say, 3.8, sorry, 38 pixel. And I'm going to change the color to, color will be brand color. Okay, looking great. So here I'm going to create another comment. This will be section title. So I'm going to select that class. I'm going to give a margin bottom, let's say 40 pixel, 44 pixel. This will be, let's see, section intro. Okay, great. So I'm going to remove the gap from these services. So I'm going to select service ID. Okay, here it is. And then I'm going to select this grid. So I'm going to remove the gap. I'm going to set the gap to 0. Alright, so let's see. This should be services. Okay, so we don't have that gap now. So I think it's looking very nice. So I'm going to change the icon. So I'm going to randomly pick some icon. Alright, so I have changed the icons. So now let me design this portfolio section. Alright, so let's design that. So I'm going to create a comment. So this will be work. I'm going to create a section. I'm going to give an ID work. I'm going to create a container. And I'm going to copy this intro title. Okay, and I'm going to paste it right here. This will be our recent work. Okay, and I'm going to create a class grid. And I'm going to create another class here. So this will be 2-column grid. And I'm going to put another class inside this. So I'm going to name this project. And I'm going to put an image. This will be images project 1. Okay, and here I'm going to create another class. This will be overlay, and I'm going to put h2. I'm going to give a class heading 3. This will be project title, and I'm going to put some text. 24. Okay. So if a user click on this work link, it goes to the work, blog, and contact. Alright, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna rename this to 2-column grid, and I'm gonna repeat 2 times 1 FR, 1 fractional. Alright. So I'm going to create a comment. So this will be project. So I'm going to select the project class. I'm going to give a position relative. Okay, and I'm going to set the workflow to hidden. Alright, then I'm going to select project image. I'm going to give a height 100%. I'm going to give object fit to cover. Okay, so then I'm going to select project overlay. I'm going to set the position to absolute, from the top 0, from the left 0, and I'm going to give a width and height 100%. Okay, and I'm going to give a background color. This will be dark color, and I'm going to set the opacity to 0.8. Save it, and I'm going to change the color to white. So I'm going to select project overlay. I'm going to select H2, and I'm going to select the paragraph. I'm going to select this. I'm going to change the color to white. Right, and then I'm going to select the paragraph. And the color is going to be white, and the opacity is going to be 0.6. Alright, and I'm going to give a padding to this overlay. So I'm going to give a padding, say 44 pixel. Okay, and I want to place this at the bottom. So I'm going to wrap this inside a div. And I'm going to remove some text. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste it. Okay, then I'm going to select the overlay. I'm going to set the display to flex. Align item flex int. Okay, and I'm going to give a transition to this overlay for a second, and I'm going to give the transition to the image as well. Okay, so when hover on the project, right, so this should be inside an anchor tag. Okay, then I'm going to select the image. So I'm going to hide the overlay. I'm going to set the opacity to 0. I'm going to set the display to none. Okay, and on hover, I'm going to show the overlay. Set the opacity to 1 and display to flex. So as you can see, so I'm going to remove this display. Okay, and I'm going to zoom this image. I'm going to select the image. Okay, I'm going to type transform, and I'm going to rotate the image, let's say 15 degree, and I'm going to scale the image 1.5. Save it and refresh. Great. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this. So this will be project 432. Okay, looking great. So now let me design this block section, which is going to be pretty simple. So I'm going to copy this, and this will be block. I'm going to rename this to block. I'm going to remove this project. So this will be 3-column grid. All right. So I'm going to copy this. So this will be a div, not an anchor tag. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to remove this. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna change the background color to light. All right, and I'm gonna design the blog post. So for that, I'm gonna create blog post. I'm gonna put an image. Image is going to be blog post 1, and I'm gonna put h3. Inside h3, I'm gonna put an anchor tag. This will be blog post title, and I'm gonna put some text. Okay, I'm gonna select blog post. I'm gonna select h3. I'm gonna give margin top, let's say 16 pixel. All right, so I'm gonna duplicate this. So I'm gonna copy and paste. So this will be blog post 2 and 3. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to design the contacted section. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to change this to, so I'm going to remove this. All right. So this will be contact. All right. So here I'm going to create a container. I'm going to create a grid. Then I'm going to create another class. This will be contact info. I'm going to create another class. This will be contact form. Okay, so here I'm going to put contact as information. Okay, email, phone, and other information. So I'm going to copy this section intro. Okay, I'm going to paste it right here. Alright, so I'm going to put email. So I'm going to create another class. This will be contact widget. Okay, so I'm going to put heading 3. I'm going to give a class heading 3, and this will be email. And I'm going to put an unordered list here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to copy this email. Okay. So I'm going to duplicate this widget. So the next is spoon. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to paste this number again. Okay, so the last one is going to be location. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to remove this one. And I'm going to paste it right here. So that's it for the contact us information column. And here I'm going to create a form. Action is going to be nothing. And here I'm going to create, so I'm going to copy this intro, and the text is going to be contact info, and I'm going to paste it right here. This will be drop us a line. Okay, here I'm going to create a class. This will be form group, and I'm going to put an input. I'm going to give a class. This will be form input, and placeholder is going to be John Doe. Okay, I'm going to copy this. This will be email. Okay, John at example.com, and the last one is going to be text area. Okay, so I'm going to remove this column and ID, and I'm going to give a row is going to be 4. Class is going to be form input. Placeholder is going to be high there. And I'm going to duplicate this one more time. And this will be, I'm going to put a button here. I'm going to give a class btn, and the text will be send. Save it, and let's design this. So I'm going to select contact ID. Okay, I'm going to select the grid. Okay, I'm going to type get template. So I'm going to type 1FR. So on the left column is going to be 1 frictional, and the right column is going to be 2.5 FR. All right. So then I'm going to select contact widget class. Okay, so this is the widget class, so I'm gonna copy, I'm gonna paste it right here, and I'm gonna give a margin bottom, let's say 44 pixel. Okay, so now we have some space. Okay, then I'm gonna select form group, form input, I think. Here it is. Yeah, form group. I'm gonna select that and I'm gonna give a margin bottom, let's say 24 pixel. Alright. Then I'm gonna select form group, then I'm gonna select form input. Okay, I'm gonna set the display to block, and also I'm gonna select the form, and I'm gonna set the weight to 100%. Okay, so let's see. And I'm gonna set the weight to 100%. Yep. Set a weight 100%. Alright, I'm gonna give a padding from the top and bottom is going to be 16 pixel, left and right 0. I'm gonna give a border radius 0. I'm gonna remove the border. Alright, and I'm gonna change the font family to be the base font. Okay, and I'm gonna remove this outline. I'm gonna select this on focus. Outline is going to be none. And I'm gonna give a border bottom 1 pixel solid. Color is going to be black and the opacity is going to be 0.4. It's 0.1. Alright, looking great. So I'm gonna increase the, let me increase the row to 5. Looking great. So I'm gonna design the footer. So I'm gonna copy the text. So here I'm gonna create a footer. I'm gonna create a container class, and here I'm gonna put paragraph, and I'm gonna create another div. I'm gonna give a class social icons. I'm gonna visit to the line awesome website, and I'm gonna search for Twitter. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna put an anchor tag. I'm gonna copy this, and this will be Facebook, and let me type YouTube. I'm gonna save it, and let this Telegram. So I'm gonna close these. So I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it and I'm going to replace this with the Telegram. Save it and let's design the footer. I'm going to select the footer. I'm going to change the background color to be the dark color. I'm going to select the footer. I'm going to select the paragraph and anchor tag. I'm going to change the color to white. I'm going to give a padding to the footer as well. So from the top is going to be, let's say, 100 pixel, left and right 0. Let me give it a 80 pixel. Then I'm going to select footer. I'm going to select the container class. I'm going to set the display to flex and I'm going to set justify content space between. Alright, and I'm going to set the flex to flex wrap to wrap. Alright, so it will go to the new line if there is no available space for these social icons. So I'm going to reduce this to like 60. Okay, so then I'm going to select footer, social icons. I'm going to select that and I'm going to increase the font size to, let's say, 24 pixel. So let's see, social icons. And I'm gonna give some space, so I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna select not the last one except the last one, so I'm gonna give a margin right, say 24 pixel. Yep, looking great. So now let's see the responsiveness. So looking great. So let's fix this 2-3 column grid. So I'm gonna go to 3 column grid. So I'm gonna type media. If the browser window is equal to or less than 768 pixel. Okay, then I'm gonna select 3 column grid and these two. I'm gonna repeat to 1FR, 1 times 1FR. So let's see. Okay, looking great. And let's do this for this contact us form as well. So I'm gonna copy this, save it and refresh. So this will be 1FR. 1FR, sorry. Alright, and I'm gonna reduce the grid gap as well. So I'm gonna search for grid. Okay, I'm going to select the grid. Instead of 40 gap, I'm going to give 24 pixel. Okay, so now we have 24 pixel gap between these items. Okay, so let's fix that active link. So I'm going to visit to app.js. I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to name this nav links list item. Document query selector all. Okay, so I have selected these list item which is inside this class. Okay, so I'm gonna select that and I'm gonna loop through. Okay, each list item. I'm gonna add event listener which is going to be click. I'm gonna create an arrow function. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the active class from the list item. Okay, so I'm gonna select list item and I'm gonna loop through list item. So I'm gonna remove list item class list remove, and the class that I'm going to remove is active, and then I'm gonna add a class list add. So the class that I'm gonna add now is going to be active. Okay, and then I'm gonna select the hamburger. Okay, and I'm gonna remove the class list remove. So I'm gonna remove the active class. If we click on the list item, so if I click on this, so the active class should be removed from this hamburger menu. Okay, it didn't work. Hamburger class list. Oh, should be active. Okay, so let's see. Great. And if I click on these list items, so this should also be hidden, these drop down. So for that I'm gonna select nav links. I'm gonna remove the active class from that as well. Save it. So let's see. If I click on this, it hides, so that is great. Okay, so as you can see, looking great. Okay, so let's fix that. This will go to the hero section. Animate. I'm gonna visit to the animate on scroll. I'm gonna click on this link. I'm gonna click on this cat icon and I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna scroll to the top. This will be animate on scroll. Alright, and I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, I'm gonna save it and let's initiate this. Okay, so I'm gonna visit to the app.js and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, so now I can use these animations when I scroll down. So as you can see, so these different animations. So I'm gonna copy this one and I'm gonna scroll to the top services and I'm gonna paste it right here. So as you can see, when I scroll down, you can see the animation. And I'm going to set this to fade up. Okay. And I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add this to the services. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to add a delay. I'm going to add a delay, let's say 300. This will be say 6 and 9. 3, 6 and 9. I'm going to save it. Let's see. Great. So I'm going to do this for the work section. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to select this, Control D. I'm going to paste it and I'm going to set this to the type is going to be zoom in. I'm going to add a delay. Let's say 300. So the first one 3, this will 6, 9 and this will going to be 11. So let's see. Great. And now I'm gonna do this for the blog post as well. This will be fade up. I'm gonna select these, I'm gonna paste and I'm gonna try this one. It's going to be flip. Yeah, flip left. So I'm gonna type flip left. It's going to be left, sorry. And I'm gonna add the delay as well. This will be, let's say 5 and 8, 6, 9. Save it and let's see. I'm going to do this for the contact us section as well. So be fade off. I'm going to delay to this one, 300 millisecond. Okay, so let's see the responsiveness and see if anything left. Okay, so guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. So if you did, make sure to like the video and thank you for watching. And one thing more, all these links will be in the description of the video, so you guys can use these links. And thank you for watching and see you in the next video.